Before these scandals came to light, I had already been talking about the need for New York City to take on the bully in Albany, and to really sort of have leadership that would stand up to Albany and really take on and advocate for what we deserve, because we've been, kind of shortchanged, to say the least, for a while now. And then the nursing home scandal blew up, and I was the first, and I'm the only mayoral candidate actually that called for his impeachment. I think that, the violation of public trust, the straight up just deception and obfuscation that he engaged in, the lives that were lost, the damage that was done, while at the same time he, published a book about his leadership and sort of patted himself on the back about that. It's disgraceful. And I can only think about the pain that so many families continue to suffer and the loss that they suffered at the hands of this kind of decision-making and leadership, using the word in the loosest way possible. And I think we deserve better. I think we've seen enough. We've had enough. There have been years and years of sort of, undercurrents and accusations, and now, we have it. It's clear and it's blatant.
To me though, and this is something I always say, and I will say it forever, I do not know a single adult woman that has not been violated in her life. I don't. And granted, it's a huge spectrum ranging from offensive, jokes to forcible rape to, whatever. I mean, it's a spectrum, but I don't know a woman that hasn't been violated. And so to me, that makes it incredibly credible. I think that, and another thing is, for people who don't believe it, then clearly you don't know any women, because I'm serious. I don't know a woman has been, I've been violated, not in any capacity like where I felt like threatened really, but still. And so it's extremely believable. But if we start getting rid of men in power positions that have violated women, there's not going to be anybody left but women. So, I said power positions.
Oh, okay. Well,
men in power positions, but also something.
Powerful podcast.
Well, also something that could easily be remedied by having more women in power positions.
Yeah.
And this goes to what you said before about having women of color come in and sort of take care of business. I cannot agree more. And this is something that I have learned. If you need something to get done, first, give it to a woman, give it to a mom, give it to a busy woman. And then if you give it to a Black woman on top of that, that's getting done. Things are getting done. And it's because when you have people that have had to be doing on their own and kicking butt and handling business their whole lives, that's all they know how to do. So that's how you get things done. I cannot agree more.
I know it's not much of a sample, but I pay very close attention to who is defending Cuomo and who isn't. And I can assure you that there are not many women of color defending Cuomo.
That's shocking.
No, not really.
Yeah.
But it is actually it's a very good segue, because if you looked back in, I think it was August, and we don't have to dwell on Biden. We know he's got a lot of issues, especially from a cognitive standpoint. They were talking about the prospect of him potentially being replaced post convention, and Cuomo came up, and I'm thinking about, and I say it constantly, I don't think people really understand the power of corporate media and what it does and how it can drive a narrative and turn somebody like Cuomo into a hero, presidential candidate.
They made him look like him and his little brother Fredo looked like, they were some sort of dream team. And I just think they're thugs.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the problem. There's a lot of people in New York City and other places that eat that type of stuff up. Just because Dianne doesn't and you don't, doesn't mean there's not a lot of people that aren't influenced by that type of stuff.
Case in point, look at all the people that voted for Trump. There's a lot of people that eat up a false narrative of whatever that sense of masculinity is, or that I'm going to get stuff done sort of image. And that's, to me, it's a bully.
I guess it depends on from what perspective you're looking at it from. What I'm saying is you have this constant, again, it's like the Trump empty podium situation. It's no different than constantly putting, Cuomo on the air all the time and saying, well, look how great he looks and look how well he's conducting conducting himself. And the truth is, no one's ever looking under the hood of the car to see what's actually there. No one's looking at the fact that the chirping was already there, that he was doing very nefarious things. So I'm curious, as it translates into your race, what has the media coverage been like in New York? Obviously, you know, we're very friendly with Andrew. You know, he does an amazing job of getting that attention, but I would like to think that for somebody who doesn't have a national profile, because he does, for the people that are in New York City that don't, but are getting, let's just say, the type of attention from the media because they're either, you know, whoever they may be rubbing elbows with, that are allowing them to get this attention. Can you speak to that and how that's affecting the mayoral race?
So let me just, you know, on the Cuomo thing, I mean, I think there's a couple of things I want to say about that first. I think that, you know, there was the media, the New York City media has always been critical of Cuomo. That being said, you know, in the midst of the COVID pandemic, right, in August, there was this, you know, the height of the pandemic. There was no direction. There was no leadership. There was, you know, there was just on the national level, right? And then, you know, here comes Cuomo, right, to sort of provide a steady voice and calm, and so I think there was a lot about sort of that moment in time and the vacuum that existed otherwise that he stepped right into, and that served him well in that moment. And I think even, you know, even in New York, even the media in New York, there was sort of this kind of like suspect, kind of like, you know, like, yeah, it's nice to get that because we're all sort of feeling like we just need some sort of leadership, and also like, you know, we're not sure we're buying it 100%, right? So you know, there's that, and you know, I think in New York City right now, in terms of the mayoral race, I mean, this goes back to sort of what I said earlier about, you know, my own candidacy being sort of erased and that kind of thing in the midst of this campaign. I don't fit the criteria. I don't fit the expectations. I don't fit the traditions. And there are plenty of people that do, right? And so, you know, whether it's flashy or it's, you know, having a national platform, you know, there's a lot of attention kind of going in those areas that sort of rubs off, if you will, on folks' campaign.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.